You know, if we've ever like gone to the gym or something like that, you know, we can just go and start lifting weights and we'll get something out of it. But if we take the time to stretch, get our body ready for something like that, we get so much more out of something like that. And that's how meditation is in particular. Because being so busy as all of us are during the day with whatever we're busy with, to suddenly try to shut everything down doesn't just happen so automatically, especially when we're not used to it. You know, so the pre-meditation is really something that's significant. And then our attitude towards the whole idea of meditation. I mean, if I said to Andy or Dale or any one of you, hey, for every day that you spend 10 minutes preparation for meditation and then meditate for an hour, for every day that you do that, I'm going to give you $1,000. Our attitude is a little bit more, I don't think it would be so much of, gee, I don't know if I can have time for this, if I can fit it in. It would be more along the lines of, hey, this is going to be a priority. I can hardly wait to do this. Why? Because, you know, we can relate to, let's say, having money or something like that. When meditation talks about finding peace within, or when we talk about the kingdom is within us, it's hard for us to relate to that. Because until we're there, we don't know. But it gives us an opportunity to say to ourselves, hey, I feel there's something in this, something special that life has to offer. And if I don't do that, then I'm just making the decision, the choice to miss out on something. I may not know exactly what it is, but it's something special, you know. If we think back to the scriptures again, what did Jesus say to his apostles? You know, to you the secrets of heaven have been revealed directly. To others, it's given in parables. So there's an opportunity for us to learn more, whatever that might mean, through meditation, because if the kingdom's within, that's the only place we can find it. You know, no matter how many books we read, no matter how many random acts of kindness we do, which are all tremendously important. But there's also this other side of the inner journey. You may be aware that Mother Teresa, you know, for as much good as she does and set up with things, she would spend 2 or 3 hours a day in quiet prayer. So there's that balance between inner and outer, learning more who you are. The ancient Greeks used to say what? Know thyself. You know, but that word in Greek, note sauton, took Greek in high school. You know, is really a different kind of knowing. Usually we think of knowing as, oh, I like this color, I do this work, I like that, I don't like that. But gnosis is really experience yourself. Know who and what you are. You are much more than the physical body. And boy, if we could ever learn that, then our whole attitude toward what's important in life changes. So those are some of the things we talked about. Let me just see. We talked about some things like saying your word, saying it slowly, okay? The thing is, when we get started, a lot of times we say it quicker, we say it faster, because it helps the mind settle down, okay? And then when it settles down a little bit more, then we can do it slower. The same thing is true for like visualization, you know? We want to move beyond visualization, but as we're starting down, it might be helpful to think about laying on the beach, you know, or walking in the park, or doing something there. And then we want to move beyond that, okay? And try to just be open. And if we find ourselves drifting off and thinking about other things, it's okay to either say our word a little faster, or to go back to visualizing something, not spend the whole time doing that, but to help us get more focus. And just recognize that these are options, because a lot of times we're kind of playing with this stuff for ourselves to see what works and what doesn't, And even the things on your sheet, when you talk about, well, this is what I'm going to do for premeditation. Some days, that might work very nicely. Other days, you might be in a different mood and maybe want to do something else. So if you're doing reading, most of the time, another time you might want to listen to music, And so these are all things as we get to learn what works for us and how we feel more confident in our ability to settle ourselves down. Those are just things to keep in mind. Okay. Pat's been doing this almost 60 years. And almost every time I see her sitting there with her book, where she reads something, looks at certain pictures, and she's got this routine of preparing herself, So it's important to understand how significant that is for us. Okay, I think that's most of the things that I remembered us talking about.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Pat,
I'd like to go over a couple of ways that.
we have somebody new.
Oh, Marla? What?
Oh, you know her. Okay, no.
Marla. Marla's actually the one that might follow up on.
Okay.
Things. Yeah. So, it's interesting. We're talking about when you're meditating, how to focus better, how to be present here. There's one of the techniques you can use is also, let's say you're meditating and your mind just is kind of bothering you too much. You want to bring it back, like we talked about, be present. You can also do something that's called like an airplane, a technique. What you do is you take your word, let's say it's peace, and you're looking into and you go, imagine flying that word into the space in front of you. Peace, 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 peace. I want you to close your eyes and try it. Whatever your word is, do it 5 times fast and then put that into the space in front of you. How does that feel? Did you notice, feel a question about how to do that at all? Because it's just saying that word faster, quickly, but the space in front of you is where your awareness should be. So that's one thing sometimes people do when they get a little distracted, too much. Okay? Another one is called the bowl on the head. Have you ever seen pictures of women in other countries that sometimes they're walking along and they've got a thing of water on their head, right? And they're walking and it's not falling over, And so, or they might have a bunch of sticks on their head, whatever. Well, the reason is because when remember, keep the eyes straight. When they're walking, they're not looking all over the place. Their attention is straight, and their awareness is a little for what's on their head. Now we're going to do a bowl on the head with water in it technique. That's a little similar. Okay, so what you do is this, and it can help you start to get centered for where you want your attention to be when you're meditating. Because we don't want it to be here, the eyes only. Remember, not looking with our eyes. Okay? So close your eyes. I'm going to take you through a little imaging thing. And imagine that there's a bowl lightly sitting on top of your head. Kind of the size of your head a little bit. It's not real big. It's not real small. Just kind of up there. And you're imagining that you have this bowl on your head. And And you're going to imagine putting water into that bowl. Pouring water into the bowl, and it's filling up, the bowl's filling up, and then you stop, and the water is kind of going back and forth a little. It's sloshing a little bit. Now imagine, with your awareness, being present to the water in the bowl, to slowly start to watch the water calm down. It's kind of going back and forth, and then it gets a little slower, and you're going to sit with full awareness of that water. But remember, your head is just straight because you don't want the bowl to fall off your head. But as the water stills, now when it gets real still, then you're going to simply forget about the bowl, but stay with your awareness, where your awareness was with that bowl in your head. It's above the eyes, awareness, not your eyes. The awareness is a little up to imagine that bowl. So imagine your bowl in your head, very still, the water sloshing around, and just watch it slowly go back and forth until it starts to get very still. When you're doing this, are you aware of anything else or just that bowl? No body, you're just being present to the bowl on your head. Okay, now, how does that feel? Did any of you get the water to still down a little bit? How does it feel to be just there? Some people like this technique, some people don't. That's why I shared different techniques. But let's say you're in your meditation, and all of a sudden you get real restless. You can do airplane into the word into the space, flying into the space. You can try the bowl on the head. Remember, everything's very relaxed, what you're doing. Did anyone like the bowl in the head? Some of you did? Did some of you go, I don't know?
I kind of felt like my
Yeah?
water was calm, but my body was kind of
Your body was what?
wavy.
Wavy?
Like my body felt like the water.
What it is, as you feel that back and forth waves, it's actually in the rhythm of your nervous system.
Ah,
So you felt that.
yeah.
You know, usually when you just go ahead and let it go and then it slowly calms, then you feel the calmness and you can be present. So there is a correlation between that slowing down till it finally stills and your nervous system. So very good observation.
I could actually see my bowl. It was
Okay.
clear, and I could see when the water quit.
Okay, so as you,
It was straight up.
did you feel the water calming down slowly?
Yeah, and then it just, I could see it wasn't moving too. And like,
Well, that's very interesting. So this is something, remember though, when it is still, you want to let go of the bowl and be present to the space in front of wherever that is. That still is called the still point. Where this certain place is that's very still. And so as you play with things like that, because remember, when you're sitting through meditation, you might get restless. What are you going to do? These are a couple techniques you can try if you like them. We also talked about, like Joe mentioned, a little faster with your word, but then slow the word down. Because as you slow the word down, that usually slows your nervous system also. So it's kind of this combination. Now, if you do several pre-meditation techniques that already start the calming, you're already a step ahead. Some people like to do the pre-meditation, then they're ready to meditate, and they might do the bowl in the head as a pre-meditation. Because that's get the focus right there. Okay? Remember, this is a very relaxing but internal practice. This helps slowly forget about your body. You're not thinking about breath in this technique itself. You're totally going into the inner space, the inner place. So that's different because we're not used to that. So it's okay. That's why practicing it during the day, have a nice sometime during the day when you can sit down. Hopefully, I would say half an hour, if you can do that in your schedule. 10 minutes at least of pre-meditation. You start to feel the calming, and then meditate for 20 minutes if you can. We'll continue to talk about the stages you go through as you get calmer. Don't freak out. Oh my God, my mind is so busy. Remember, if that happens, you go, open your eyes and shake it off and go, oh yeah, there it is. Oh, let me go back. Don't give up. And today, hopefully you'll have a little experience of some of that. Now, I'm going to show you a video clip. And it's from a meditation teacher. And we like this meditation teacher. And he's going to talk about meditation again. In another little different, similar. Okay? So, Joe,
Yep.
I don't know if this is...
Well, I think you're set.
This is connected. This kind of takes a minute to get attention.
So as she's setting that up, remember how we talked about the bottle with all the, the bubbles?
Bubbles.
Keep in mind, we don't have to do anything to get rid of the bubbles. We just let them go, and they go away by themselves. And the thoughts will be the same thing. They'll just go away by themselves. We don't have to think, I gotta do this. Okay.
Just be sure the connections are good. Yes, there we go.
Pretty good.
Hired.
Okay, so this is a meditation teacher we really like. We'll talk a little bit at the end about having a meditation teacher and how they can help. But, so hopefully this sounds like. Oh, you have this thing connected, Jim.
Excuse me.
Just carry it.
In silence, and that's what meditations are about. It's in the silence of the body and the silence of the mind that we start to connect with our real self, and our real self is our soul, and that soul is a part of God. And so as we connect with that godly characteristic within ourselves, then we are experiencing God for ourselves. And as we experience God for ourselves, then we realize the presence of God in our life. It's not hearsay anymore. We had that experience, and that's the key. In the East, God is described by these three characteristics of Sat, Chit, Anand. The Sat means truth, Chit means consciousness, and Anand means bliss. The God is all truth. Everything with God is truthful. Everything with God is spiritually conscious, we have consciousness, much higher than this physical consciousness that we have. And everything with God is blissful. This aspect of being blissful is what we forget. Because when difficulties come in our life, we start to feel as if we are not in a state of happiness. The smile fades away and we get into a depressive mode. But we need to realize that God is an ocean of all bliss. We're a drop of that ocean. So our innate quality is to be blissful. And to be in that state, we need to experience the love of God in our lives. What makes us blissful is when we are in love. And when we experience the love for God, which is within each and every one of us, then we know that our life is blissful, is happy, is joyous. Think of the times when you thought you were in love with some other person of this world. At that time, everything is happy, everything is joyous, everything is blissful. There's no difficulties or tension, not on anything else. You're just very happy. So when we realize the presence of God in our own being, which we do as we meditate, you can imagine the joy and bliss that we have. And when we are happy on the inside, then that happiness is what flows out from us on the outside. And those who are content with themselves are the ones who have a big smile on their face. Because they know that everything is taken care of. When we get to a state where we feel the presence of God in our own lives, then we realize that there's nothing else that can distract us from being happy. Because happiness is within ourselves. There's no one who can take that away from us. There's nothing that puts us in a state which will deprive us of being joyful and being blissful. And that state is what is important to experience. And those who find that state within themselves are the ones who pass through life in the best possible of manners. The key is to go within. The key is to look within. The key is to find deep within ourselves the joys of the divine. And each and every one of us can do that. The process of meditation is to take our attention away from the world outside and focus it within. Because when we find the strength within, then we can deal with the disparities on the outside. We can deal with the ups and downs of life very easily. Because we know that at our core, we are blissful. At our being, at the depths of who we are, there's joy. And so that joy needs to ooze out, that joy needs to come out, and that everything on the outside is just on the periphery, and it's going to pass.
So that's another perspective, deeper perspective of what meditation can be, why we will meditate. And when he uses the word God, he's talking it generically. In other words, he's talking about universal consciousness that we're all a part of. And again, how to connect with that. Okay? Now, we're going to get ready to meditate. So put everything down, and what we're going to do is, I'm going to do a series of premeditation. I'm going to introduce another kind of premeditation along as part of the process. Okay? Actually, I really should turn down the light.
Okay.
Does that work or not?
Sure.
For this.
There's
Anyway, what you're going to do to get ready, we're going to stand up and bounce. Because doing something physical is really helpful, like we found, to start to let go of some body tension. So those of you who are comfortable with it, to stand and bounce. If you're not, it's okay. But sometimes people have hip problems or knee problems, so you just kind of bend your knees a little and basically move the top of your body, you know? But be a ragdoll. And if you can bounce and smile. And take a deep breath, because you're starting the process of joy, of being present. The mind wants to smile. When we smile, guess what the brain says? Ooh, we're happy, we're good. You know, so, now take deep breaths in and out through your mouth. That's the first step of taking some breath. Sigh. Feels so good just to sigh and to move and to bounce and to feel like, wow, what a great day great way to greet the day, you know, to go out and go, wow, here I am again, I'm back. Wake up in the morning and yes, I'm back. Don't forget to sigh. That's the normal part of, again, relaxing. I want to hear some sighs. Because don't be afraid to sigh with some breath. And when you're in a group like this, and you do this, there's an energy know that bodies start to connect energetically. Whoa. Now, you know, they actually did research on this. If you can put your arms up, go like this. Wave back and forth. They actually did research on this and found that the brain loves it, the nervous system loves this. You know how you go to the game and they do the wave?
Yeah.
Or you go to some Pentecostalist churches and they're doing this because it feels good. They may not know why, but you guys are going to know why now. There is something that, again, the body and the mind and the nervous system all work together. Automatic, yeah. Okay, great. Well, now, please sit down, and we're going to do some gentle breathing, okay? We talked about how the breath really does calm the nervous system as well. In and out through the nose is considered the most calming of the breaths. But you always have an option to do it however you like, okay? And remember, you want to take the lower lung, get that lower lung filled up, and all the way out at the bottom. Long exhale. So let's just breathe for a few minutes, okay? Feel the breath in your body. Love your body. Give it that love of breath and be present to it. Now go ahead and let your breath be natural. And I'm going to have you do some imaging and relaxing parts of the body. So forgetting about the breath itself, just let it happen now. Put all of your awareness on the right foot. Your eyes are closed, but you can be aware of your right foot. Put your awareness on your right foot. Feel the toes wiggle. Be present to that. Now put all of your awareness on the left foot. And feel that left foot. Be really aware of that left foot. Now put your awareness on your upper thighs. Be very present to your upper thighs. Feel them. Be present to them. And let them feel very soft. Imagine your thighs getting very soft. Almost like melting butter. How it gets real soft as it starts to melt. Now put your awareness on your belly area. Imagine that whole area, your belly, your buttocks, that whole area becoming very soft. You can almost imagine in that whole area a soft yellow light, soft yellow color. And feel that area melting, gently softening, and sinking into the chair. Now put your awareness on your right shoulder. Imagine that right shoulder. Be there. Imagine going down the arm all the way to the hand. And the shoulder and the arm and the hand are softening, becoming very soft. So soft that they melt and start to disappear. Now put your awareness on the left shoulder. Imagine the left shoulder getting very soft. The arm going down and softening all the way to your hand. So soft. Imagine that shoulder, the arm, and the hand starting to almost melt. So soft. And slowly disappears. Now put your awareness on your chest and your back. Imagine those areas becoming very soft. Very soft. Again, becoming so soft, it feels like they could melt away. Melting into the chair and then disappearing. And from the neck down, you've disappeared. Now bring your awareness to to the third eye where you meditate. Be very present to that area. And I'm going to bring the bowl around and listen to the sound. And then go into your meditation. 15 minutes. But sometimes you can start to feel a shift at that point too. Did any of you get extremely restless at all? If you do, you have some strategies to use, you know. Did you like the pre-meditation? I introduced the going around the body one, which is new. You can also imagine, when you focus on a part of the body, imagine it slowly dissolving and disappearing. I like that one too. So that as you come up to here, from the waist down, you've slowly dissolved and disappeared. Come up here. So that helps to bring you up to here. Letting go of the body and relaxing it to come up to here for your meditation time. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Now one of the things too we didn't do is you can invite in, when you first start the meditation process itself, you know, when you start to get ready to meditate, invite in angels, spiritual guides, any beings that would like to come in and be with you during meditation, the higher power within yourself. You know, Rajinder Singh was talking about being with the higher power in yourself, the God consciousness within you, and being present to that, okay? That's another way you can do it, and don't forget to smile when you get ready. Sometimes it's nice to just go, I'm ready. You know, and that, again, brings in calming endorphins in your brain. So you can say, let me smile and be here. Be present. That's all it is. It's really very simple. You say your loving word, your kind word, you're just present, and when the mind wanders out, you gently bring it back. It's going to happen. Don't worry, it's all right. You know, and then as you say the words, your word a little slower, slowly, again, that's calming to your nervous system. Because rhythm tunes in to your nervous system. The calmer the rhythm, the calmer your nervous system. So as you notice with the water on the head, slowly letting it go, slower and slower. That then affects the nervous system. Does anyone have a question right now about meditation? You okay? Okay. Also, in your folder, you have something about doing the pre-meditations practice that you want to set up. We may, before we end, want you to commit on your paper to that, because when you write it down, there's another level of commitment. You look at it before you do your meditation. You sit down. You can start looking at something in your folder to remind you of how to sit, because the first session, one of your folder things was the steps to go into meditation. Sometimes that's nice to read if you think that you need a review for that. Okay? Again, other pre-meditation. Reading something spiritual that you love, that wants you to be present. Also, you might like just listening to a calming thing for 5-10 minutes. You know? So there's lots of options for you. You'll have several handouts today too. Now what I'm going to do now is I want to go into showing you some video clips that also have to do with meditation, okay? How you think, because your thoughts greatly affect how you do with meditation, okay? Don't forget, during the day, you can use your word anytime you need to, wherever you are, to start calming, to help you get out of a rut. Have you ever gotten in a mental rut? You know, you think about it, you can't get out of it. That's when you take a deep breath and you go, okay, I'm going to just let it go and I'm going to say my word. And say my word to you, the mental rut, you're changing from one to the other. From that to the next. Because when you're in a mental rut, that's not positive. Your body don't like it. You got to smile and go, I can let it go. I can deal with it later. You know, whatever it is. All right? So let's try some some more things. Some more video clips. I have two of them. Or two of them, actually. Let's see. This is one on perspective, how you can look at things. These are short, they're not real long.
Hi, this is Dare to Do Motivation, and this is a story about perspective.
Can you hear it okay?
So once upon a time, there was an old lady who cried all the time. Her elder daughter was married to an umbrella merchant, while the younger daughter was the wife of a noodle vendor. On sunny days, she worried. Oh no, the weather is so nice and sunny. No one is going to buy any umbrellas. What will happen if the shop has to be closed? These worries made her sad. She just could not help but cry. When it rained, she would cry for the younger daughter. She thought, oh no, my younger daughter is married to a noodle vendor. You cannot dry noodles without the sun. Now there will be no noodles to sell. What should we do? As a result, the old lady lived in sorrow every day. Whether sunny or rainy, she grieved for one of her daughters. Her neighbors couldn't console her and jokingly called her the crying lady. One day she met a monk. He was very curious as to why she was always crying. She explained the problem to him. The monk smiled kindly and said, Madam, you need not worry. I will show you a way to happiness, and you will need to grieve no more. The crying lady was very excited. She immediately asked the monk to show her what to do. And the monk replied, it is very simple. You just need to change your perspective. On sunny days, do not think of your elder daughter not being able to sell umbrellas, but the younger daughter being able to dry her noodles. With such good, strong sunlight, she must be able to make plenty of noodles, and her business must be very good. When it rains, think about the umbrella store of the elder daughter. With the rain, everyone must be buying umbrellas. She will sell a lot of umbrellas, and her store will prosper. Finally, the old lady saw the light. She followed the monk's instruction. After a while, she didn't cry anymore. Instead, she was smiling every day. From that day on, she was known as the Smiling Lady. You see, in life, in your life, everything is about perspective. There are always two sides to a coin. It depends on you, what side you choose to look at. For the old lady, actually nothing changed in her life. It still rained some days, and it still was sunny some days. So it didn't really make a difference to her daughter's businesses. But the thing that changed was she changed her perspective. And that is the secret to a happy life. This is Dare to Do Motivation Stories. Thanks for watching.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
But you know, we forget that. We think of the negative, but there's always another side. And finding that other way of looking at something, because does worry help us? It really doesn't help anyone. So let's find the positive in whatever situation is. So that's something to practice, and it's something that takes some time. Oh, come on. That one's a clean recipe. This is another Buddhist or Zen story. Okay.
Once upon a time in a small village, there lived a man named Mithun. He was a simple and kind-hearted person, but he had always struggled to find success in his life. No matter how hard he tried, success seemed to elude him like a distant mirage. His failures had left him feeling disheartened and lost, seeking answers to the mysteries of life. One day, as Mithun was contemplating his situation, he heard rumors of a wise and revered Zen master who resided on the peak of the tallest mountain in the region. The villagers spoke of this master's wisdom and the life-changing guidance he offered to those who sought him out. Filled with hope, Mithun decided to embark on a journey to meet the Zen master and seek his counsel. The path to the mountaintop was treacherous, but Mithun's determination fueled his steps. After days of travel, he finally reached the entrance of a humble temple where the Zen master was set to reside. Mithun bowed respectfully and requested an audience with the master. The Zen master, an elderly man with serene eyes and a gentle smile, welcomed Mithun. "Greetings, young man. I sense you have come seeking answers," he said warmly. "Yes, master," replied Mithun, with a hint of hesitation in his voice. "I have been struggling all my life to achieve success and happiness. No matter how hard I work, I fail at everything I attempt. I feel lost and defeated." The Zen master nodded in understanding. "I see. The answers you seek lie not in external achievements but within your own mind. Success and happiness are not elusive prizes. They are the fruits of discipline and thinking." Perplexed, Mithun asked, "Disciplined thinking, master. What does that mean?" The master smiled kindly. "Disciplined thinking means taming the chaos of your mind, controlling your thoughts, and nurturing positive attitudes. Just as a wild horse needs a skilled rider to guide it, your thoughts require discipline to lead you to success and happiness." Mithun listened attentively as the master continued. "You see, thoughts are the seeds that shape your reality. If you sow seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, you will reap failure and despair. But if you sow seeds of positivity, determination, and perseverance, you will harvest success and joy." Mithun pondered these words, realizing the profound truth in the master's wisdom. "But how can I discipline my thinking, master?" he inquired humbly. The Zen master replied, "It begins with awareness. Become aware of your thoughts, for they influence your emotions and actions. When you find yourself dwelling on negative thoughts, gently steer your mind towards positive ones. Train your mind like a gardener tending to a garden, uprooting the weeds of negativity and nurturing the flowers of positivity." The journey of self-discovery and transformation had just begun for Mithun. He spent weeks at the temple, learning from the Zen master and practicing the art of disciplined thinking. Each day brought new challenges as Mithun confronted the depths of his mind, untangling the web of negative beliefs and replacing them with empowering thoughts. Through meditation and mindfulness, Mithun learned to be the observer of his thoughts, allowing them to come and go like passing clouds. He embraced gratitude for every experience, recognizing that even failures held valuable lessons. Slowly but steadily, Mithun's mind became a tranquil lake, reflecting the beauty of the world around him. One morning, as the sun bathed the mountaintop in golden hues, Mithun sat with the Zen master in silent contemplation. A sense of peace and purpose filled his heart as he realized the profound transformation that had taken place within him. The Zen master broke the silence. "Mithun, you have come a long way on this journey of disciplined thinking. Now, let me share a secret with you." Mithun looked intently at the master, eager to receive the wisdom he had sought for so long. The master smiled warmly and said, "The secret lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself. Success is not measured solely by external achievements, but by the growth of your inner self. When you discipline your thinking, you unleash the power within you to create a life filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment." Mithun nodded, taking the master's words to heart. He now understood that success was not a singular destination, but a lifelong pursuit of self-improvement and inner harmony. Filled with newfound wisdom and a deep sense of gratitude, Mithun bid farewell to the Zen master and began his journey back to the village. Along the way, he encountered numerous challenges, but he faced them with courage and a disciplined mind. As he returned to his village, Mithun noticed a change in the way people interacted with him. His positive attitude and unwavering determination inspired others, and he found himself surrounded by friends and well-wishers. Mitten's newfound discipline in thinking and his persistent efforts yielded remarkable results in his professional and personal life. He started a small business that flourished under his guidance, and he was admired for his integrity and fair dealings. Word of Mitten's transformation and success spread far and wide, and people from neighboring villages came to seek his advice. He became known as the wise and benevolent man who could guide others to find success and happiness. However, Mitten remained humble, knowing that the true secret to success was not in himself, but in the wisdom he had embraced, the power of disciplined thinking. He continued to grow and learn, understanding that the journey of self-discovery had no end. As the years passed, Mitten became a beacon of hope and inspiration for countless people. He taught them to discipline their thinking, to see failures as stepping stones, and to embrace each day with gratitude and optimism. His impact on the lives of others was immeasurable, and he found fulfillment in helping others find their own paths to success and happiness. And so, the tale of Mitten, the once unsuccessful man who transformed his life through disciplined thinking, spread across the land, transcending time and borders. It became a powerful Zen story, reminding people of the profound truth that success and happiness lie within the depths of one's mind. Remember that each of us holds the key to our own destiny. Through disciplined thinking, we can shape our lives and create a world filled with purpose, joy, and compassion. May this timeless tale inspire you to embark on your journey of disciplined thinking, and may it guide you toward a life of fulfillment and inner peace. For within the realms of your mind lies the infinite power to manifest your dreams and become the master of your fate. The story emphasizes that true success and happiness are not found in external achievements or material possessions. Instead, they reside within us. By discipline our thinking, we can tap into our inner potential, cultivate positive attitudes, and create a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. The story teaches us to view failures and setbacks as valuable lessons rather than reasons for despair. Each failure becomes an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. By adopting a growth mindset, Mitten turns his setbacks into stepping stones towards success. This is the Wisdom Whispered Stories.
Well, what did you think of that one? That's kind of nice, these stories. They're on YouTube. They have a number of different ones. Now there's, it's interesting because the discipline part is what's about meditation. Because meditation helps you to watch your thoughts. Observe your thoughts. As they come up, you let them go, but you start to be able to choose. And that's why this story is related to meditation so powerfully. To be present. I think we have one last video. I wanted to share though too about the deeper level of meditation that Joe and I have practiced for many, many years. And that's with the teacher that we just showed at the beginning. Okay, there's something called Science of Spirituality. Actually, it has different names over time, but it's the same tradition of teaching an inner meditation path. And they're a different teacher each time. And when one dies, there's another one that's ready to share. And the thing to understand is, this path, there's no money exchanged. The teacher had been a student as he or she himself, okay? They are sharing what they have learned and what they have received. And so therefore, they earn their own living. Because how do we live in the world? We can't all go off and be monks and gurus. The whole idea is that we're all one. We're all the same. There's no one higher or lower than us. And so the teachers of this tradition say, I'm a friend. They're often called the true friend. Because they've been there, they come back and share it. And so what was given to them, they give it to other people. And so there's two levels of the meditation technique. The one I've been sharing with you more, which is a very deep inner technique as well. The second part, that if you want to go even deeper, is to work with a meditation teacher. But again, that is no cost. Well, what they do is they're able to help open you up to something deeper in yourself that's already there. They're not giving you anything you don't already have, but they help to connect you with it more. And that's a very inner kind of spiritual interaction. You know, like even when Jesus or any of the great saints in the world, they didn't collect money. They actually lived and shared how to be and how to connect. So there's a deeper level in there. We're going to give you a paper that if you ever want to look up the site, they have lots of free webinars, because everything with the group is free. Okay? And people do projects, things like that, like books and stuff like that. But it's all something that if you go to a teacher to help you with the spiritual, because they can be very helpful if you have a good teacher. Because they're going to teach you inwardly, and they're not going to say, you don't worship them. They say, do not worship us. We are the same as you. How you live is what's important. How you think is what's important. What you understand, like the things we just heard about, the thoughts. That's half of the practice. The other half of the practice is meditating. So if you do both those things, look at your thoughts and make choices, and then meditate to connect with the inner self, the higher self in you. That's the way of life that brings joy. And my first experience with it was a great, incredible experience of joy. I was just overwhelmed from it. And people have different experiences, like, you know, of different range. But the idea is that you can't, this is one of the most important things you can do in your life, is to learn to meditate. So you don't have to change your name, you don't have to change your religion. You can say any religion you want, any group you want, because an inner path is an inner path. You choose what you like out there to help you. But a true teacher is teaching you to go within and helps you to do that. They're not asking you to do anything weird. You're different, okay? Because some people, like all over the world, people have different traditions that they love. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you should do. You don't have to become a different person in that way, or change it. You don't have to wear a special outfit or do anything like that. But it is something that everybody can practice. But it is something that you have to do. You have to walk the walk, you know, and you can connect. So there's lots of wonderful stories out there about how people do this, you know, get connected. And there's, so I wanted to share that part. Now, the last thing we wanted to do show is a little video clip.
Excuse me.
What?
Did you want me to go through these couple pages?
I already did the two that's important, that we haven't done before. Okay, there's
Okay.
only two that we haven't
Just
done.
a point of clarification, what we're handing out here are 4 sheets.
Until the end,
Oh, excuse
until
me.
we're done.
Okay.
Please, thank you. Don't want to distract them right now, because we're now going to see a video clip that is really beautifully done, that shows how we affect the world in an energetic way. So this is one of Joe's and my favorite ones to go to. So where do I put it? Oh my God, this one. Oops. Okay, I have to go down to here. Where did I put it? I've got lots of stuff up here.
As was just suggested, you know, the way we think about things, our perspective is so important. And of course, this is a time where there seems to be, some people feel there's a lot of chaos going on politically, socially, here within the United States, within the world. And again, just take some ideas that shares what a way of thinking about all this.
Yeah, so This is about 5 minutes, and I'll be done. Okay.
We've been lied to. We've been told that the only way the world will change is if we fight. Fight against poverty, fight against environmental destruction, fight against animal cruelty, fight against corrupt politicians, fight against injustice and hatred. But what if they had it all wrong? What if our very fighting is helping to perpetuate these problems? How could that possibly be, you ask? Well, quantum physics is now proving what the ancient mystical traditions have always said. We do not live in a physical universe. But don't take my word for it. Albert Einstein himself said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. What he meant is that the physical world is an illusion. It has been calculated that if you took all 7.7 billion people on Earth and removed all the empty space in between their atoms, the entire human race would fit into a single cube of sugar. Let that sink in. So much for a solid world. The hidden truth of reality is that this is a universe built on pure energy, pure consciousness. It only appears and feels solid because that's how our brains are programmed to perceive and sense it. Yet this consciousness has no physical boundaries. It is intimately interconnected everywhere. Which means that when you fight against any problem or injustice in the world with anger and resistance in your heart, your consciousness is literally seeding the energy field of humanity with this negative contracted energy. So while you may seem to be helping on the physical front and what you're fighting for may improve, there will be no ultimate resolution because the energetic seed you planted will be alive. And it will unite with energy of its kind from around the world and necessitate the manifestation of new problems. Because that's how reality actually works. Consciousness literally creates physical reality. Moment by moment. But the vast majority of people have been miseducated and misinformed. They're fighting for a better world on the physical front, but their underlying consciousness is serving as the blueprint for more injustice and more problems to be born into the world. And it's a vicious cycle that won't end until we wake up to the truth. The truth is that no amount of fighting and protesting and campaigning will create real lasting change as long as there's anger and hatred and resistance in our hearts. We've been down this futile path for endless centuries. One problem solved, and a new one springs in its place, necessitated by the negative energy that solved the first one. When will we realize that there has to be a better way? Well, that better way was actually proven to us 4 decades ago, but no one took notice. In 1978, a scientifically controlled study was conducted on a group of 7,000 meditators who meditated for 3 weeks in a state of love and peace. What happened next was absolutely stunning. It was discovered that during this period, global crime rates dropped by 16%. Global suicides and car accidents also dropped. Most astonishing of all, there was a 72% decrease in global terrorist activity. Stop and think about that for a moment. The entire world literally changed because of a group of a mere 7,000 meditators who stayed in coherence in a higher state of consciousness. A state of love and peace. And this shocking result occurred precisely because we don't live in a physical universe. These powerful waves of love and peace were felt subconsciously by the entire collective consciousness of humanity and affected mass behavior without people even realizing it. And so it's time for us to wake up to these hidden truths about our reality. It's time for us to drop the old paradigm that tells us the world will change by fighting for change. And it's time to embrace the new paradigm that empowers each and every single one of us to change the world in a real and lasting way. Through the incredible power of our consciousness, there are no limits to your power when you align to a more truthful view of the world you live in. The love that you feel in your heart is an actual power that you have. It's literally the most powerful force on earth. This is not a cliche. You've just been conditioned to believe that it has no real effect. But we've seen that its power is absolutely world-changing. And one person, you, has unlimited amounts of it to plant as seeds in the collective consciousness. So start this very moment. Close your eyes, open your heart, and send love to the world. Feel the peace and let your consciousness abide there. Every single second that you do this literally rewrites our planet's future with a new energetic blueprint. And then if you're meant to take some physical action to help the world, it'll be spontaneously inspired by love, and it will be infinitely more powerful than that which is fueled by righteous anger. Love can lead to courageous, assertive action and does not mean being passive. And even without physical action, you're helping to change the world on a foundational, energetic level that actually creates reality. You are the superhero and savior you've been waiting for. You just didn't know it.
Oh, that was different, wasn't it?
It's cool.
But it is interesting because what we've been talking about and sharing with meditation is it not only changes us, making us more peaceful, and looking at the thoughts we're thinking and sending out into the world. Think about when you get upset with someone. What are you sending to that person? You know, how can you shift it to another way of thinking? So a lot of what a spiritual life is, and I know you're all spiritually oriented, and that's why I'm sharing this, is looking at what we're sending out energetically and doing it here first. It has to start in here. Okay? So, are there comments about that? Any observations? No? Okay.
What struck you the most about watching that last?
Well, it's true.
Did you ever think about that?
It's
that
true.
fighting against
Yep.
something with anger doesn't make lasting change. That's a different point of view.
I know that I was been taking kinesiology things, and we did this muscle testing, you know, where you send negative thoughts, and it's amazing.
Well, there's that one movie, the video might be kind of cool to watch, is the one with, oh my God, what's the name of it? The one where they take water and they put different words on it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what was the name of that movie? But anyhow, it's a good movie. Can't think of it right now. But anyway, those kinds of things to watch and think about are powerful.
Yeah.
So there was something else I wanted to say with this.
What's that song, One Power?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is really cool. And the power is, it's
Yes.
love.
It's almost like the thing to meditate on is love.
Mhm.
And that if you're meditating, you know, it's like we have a meditation here tomorrow night. You know, probably each of us will be meditating on our own little theme. Like here you have, I meditate because it's almost like just forget all that stuff and just everybody meditate on love.
Okay.
Well, when you sit in meditation, like I've been sharing, you start with love. You bring up love and you gaze with love in this meditation. Because it's the act of loving in a focused way that's powerful. Because you're right, it's all about an act of love. And so when you meditate and you bring up the feeling of love and you're gazing with love, you're learning to focus your consciousness much more, because the practice of focusing your attention makes it more powerful.
So it's like when we all meditate and we have this word, it should always be love.
The word itself is only for calming the mind a little. But you're not thinking love.
Okay.
See, that's different. When you're doing a word that you've chosen, it's a calming word. You're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to think peace, peace out there. That's in the back of your mind, helping the mind to calm down. Your attention and awareness is here, gazing with love here. Not the feeling and the being of love. Not intellectually love, thinking the word love. In one way, that might be your chosen word, though. Yeah, because it can be. Love, peace, calm, kindness, whatever. You can do that, but keep the word consistent, because you want to train the mind that when you start to think that word, it'll start to calm automatically. So so that's why we don't change the word as a rule. You want to just keep something to calm, even Om. But I think your thing about the love is important for us to reiterate that it is gazing with love, with the feeling of love. Emotions carry strong energy. You know, and when you focus your attention, it gets even more powerful.
Hey, Pat, isn't tomorrow World Peace Prayer Day?
Oh, I don't know, it might be.
I believe so. September 10th and 11th?
The unity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day is.
Well, every day. I mean, but it's
I know.
yeah.
I know what you mean. It's more like everyone should be aware of it and share it
Right,
at the same
right.
time.
Mhm.
But you know, even among you folk, as you meditate and gaze with love and be present to that, and are calmer, and go through life with calmness and peace and joy, that's where you are seeking to go. Because what is the higher consciousness that is in the world? It is love and joy. It is the feeling of peace, joy, love. And that's when you know you're starting to get into the meditation deeper. Remember, I think I started out talking about this one lady who came to meditation years before, and she came up after a month of coming to the meetings each week, and she said, I don't know what's happening, but I'm feeling happy inside for no reason. She had never experienced that, because through the meditation, she was starting to feel that peace and calmness, and then the happiness comes. Because this is where it's at. You know? And so I leave you with that as being so important. Now we have handouts for you. Yeah. Well, we can help. Yeah, we can pass those around. But one is simply a little more on the research. And when we started out with saying, I'm going to meditate because, as you brought it up, it's important to say, why do I want to talk to the mind to convince the mind to sit. So I have to have a reason for a lot of that mind thing. I want to sit with the higher power. I want to sit with love. I want to be more loving, more peaceful, whatever it is that you want. Compassion is also a big, big thing with thoughts. If you think about it, everything all gets down to being compassionate. If I'm judging someone else, I'm not being compassionate. If I'm judging myself, I'm not being compassionate to me. How I'm eating, how am I interacting with people? It all comes down to compassion. And compassion is so powerful. So think about that. So if you could pass, if you could just kind of send it down. There's another one. What's that one? Oh, that's the research one. Okay.
Well, these all go together.
All together.
Oh, no, you put it together.
I put them all together.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to do that, but I will. Okay. Before I mess it up more, huh? Okay,
Thank you.
So we talked about focusing your attention today, and I did 2 things about that. So this is in here. Now, a third one is information that you might want to keep. Sara Jinder Singh has on YouTube so many wonderful short clips about all kinds of things of how to live spiritually. And they're practical, and I love them. And there's an energy in listening to someone speak. Okay? Then there's, if you have questions about meditation over time, you can call us, since you took the class, so that we can connect. You can call us or email us. There's a good site, wsos.org is the site that gives you all kinds of webinars that are free, all kinds of information that's free about meditation and spirituality. Then you can go to YouTube and just put in Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj in English, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes up. And remember, this is a person, a teacher, who doesn't take a dime for his teachings. And he earns his own living his whole life, just like they say Jesus was a carpenter. Who knows, you know? But he earned his own living, and he does this now out of, because he can give the connection. He is the next person. And then YouTube is also a good source for meditation, CDs for meditation, music, all of that. So don't forget about that you can do. So we did the research and that, and I think those are the things. Now, if you're interested in getting any of the video clips that I showed, or anything, or wanting to be on an email list, or whatever, because we don't use it except for meditation. In fact, Marla if you'd stand up. Marla's a long-term meditation teacher, I mean a meditator, and so she's also a Reiki master in 2 different systems, so she's very energetically open and can do really great things that way too. But she might be a person that we're looking at maybe having some regular meetings here of doing what we've just done, where you sit through a period of pre-meditation, then meditate. And have a little, maybe a reading or something about meditation or about how to think about life, okay? So it's a simple kind of hour of meditation thing, but it does give you more practice in this particular approach to sit with this, okay? And so we'll let you know about that, when and if we do that. But again, we don't collect anything for that. And that'll be for the church. Well, I mean for the group here. We'll pay for it, our little group. We'll pay for that. So anyway, there's more things in here. And in your folder,
I didn't get anything down.
oh, you didn't get? So anyway, any other questions or anything about that? Any things you'd like to see when you meditate? If anyone if you want, you can come up with just your name and email address if you're interested in being able to be followed up with emails about when and how we'll do stuff like that, And if you have any questions, we can always let you know about
Okay.
that.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you so much for
Thank you, everyone.
your
Thank you.
attention all these weeks.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful being together, and for those hardy souls who have more perseverance, next week,
Tuesday.
we'll look to get together and have some fun talking about the spiritual message in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yay.